Hello, clowns.
I'm Ami.
I'm Yu Chen, and we're the hosts of Clown Bites Podcast.
We're two best friends who are chronically online and get together weekly to laugh and discuss all of the clown behavior we see on the internet.
And there's so much.
Truly so much.
We're so glad to have you here to clown around with us, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
Welcome back, clowns, for a very special recording in person. 2 recordings in person this season. That's pretty good.
Wow, that means we saw each other
2 times very recently.
Yes.
Which is great.
We've
had a week. It's been a long week. Tell everyone why you're at my house this time.
Well, I never come to Dallas because why?
Okay, but that's fair.
Yes. I only came to Dallas one other time to visit you because you so desperately needed it.
Yeah.
And this time you did not. I came on my own.
For funsies.
And it's been fun, but I realized 1 week is my max.
Yeah. Because, one, you're sleeping on the couch.
Oh, yes. Dude, I sleep on the couch really well.
Yeah,
actually.
I sleep on your couch really well, too. It's just hard not being in your own space.
Exactly.
That's why. And it's tough because we're working, so we're not really doing anything fun.
Yeah, we're not. This week, I dubbed the theme of this week as stomach issues.
We have had plenty.
Every day, at least one of us has had a stomach issue.
We are very stomach issue prone.
And at the end of the episode, I'm going to give the audience an update on one of my goals for the year because it is the last episode of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm inclined to give you guys an update on how far I've come on all of my goals.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, but first up, let's talk about a clown story that occurred this week. So before I came to Dallas, Ami wanted me to bring her tom yum soup because I've been on a tom yum kick, and she wanted to try the tom yum paste that I've been using, and so I specifically got it for her, and it was a flop.
Okay, I love tom yum, so this was a big loss for me. But essentially, the tom yum paste just ignited such an intense food insensitivity for me.
We think.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Food sensitivity? Insensitivity?
Yeah. Sensitivity.
Food sensitivity for me, maybe. And I spent a day and a half in a coma.
Yes. So did we talk on the
Cool.
podcast about how you had to get a colonoscopy and you canceled it because you were feeling mentally well?
No, we didn't talk about it, but this summer I did go to a gastroenterologist, and he was like, let's get a colonoscopy because even though you're young, you never know. And I was like, okay, that's fine. We can get it. But leading up to it, I was like, I'm feeling good. I think it's because I went to Finland and ate such bland food for a month.
Yeah.
And so that really helped. He told me to start eating bland food, and I was like, sure, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was forced into it in Finland. And so when I came back, I was like, I'm vibing. I don't want to do this. And then they were giving me crazy insurance quotes. It was going to be a 5 to 10K surgery.
It's actually
not
a surgery?
sorry. 5 to 10K test or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, okay.
And no one gave me a straight answer. The thing is, though, I was like, hey, can anyone give me a total number? Because I was getting quotes from each separate thing. The doctor's quote, the surgical center quote, the anesthesia quote. And I didn't understand how all of this was going to affect my insurance, how much total I was going to pay, and no one could tell me. So then I was like, fuck it. I'm feeling good. Let's just not. And I goofed.
I will say, I think what's really sad is if I'm right on what you're sensitive to, it's MSG, which is really sad because MSG just makes everything taste so much better.
How do I test this? Should I just go buy some MSG?
No, but isn't there a better way to test food, allergies or something? Is it allergies that we think this is or something else?
I don't know. What's the difference between allergy and sensitivity?
I don't know, but I feel like there must be a cheaper way to do this other than getting...
Isn't MSG pretty cheap?
Yeah.
So then that's cheap, no?
Oh, I mean just another food test.
Oh. Then the colonoscopy.
I think we could just order a food test off of Amazon.
What's that Everly Wells food sensitivity test? I could get that.
Yeah, do it.
I guess I could do that. We'll see. I think you might be onto something though, because while I love Tom Yum, I do get it a lot at different restaurants, and different restaurants have affected me differently. So it's not like the basis of Tom Yum. So I feel like you're really onto something.
Yeah. Also, one goal that I've been doing this week specifically with Ummi is trying to change her physically into a morning person.
You literally were like my life coach on Sunday. Like, how do we get you on a normal sleep schedule? And you know what? On Monday,
It's not
I did
unwanted
it.
though.
No, it's not. No, totally not unwanted. It was wanted, but like you really went into life coach mode. You could do this as a hobby.
Really?
think
No. Okay, Nico has a friend JJ who is like has such a life coach personality, and I say this because he's always the one coaching me at Hot Pot. Like he's like at one time we were eating Hot Pot and he eats a lot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, JJ, I can't do it anymore. He's like, you think you can't, but you actually can. It's like, what's another one more bite? Like your mind does not will not give up that easily. And he's like the most life coachy person ever.
Okay. Yeah. But I think you could do it too. If you
Really?
needed to diversify, maybe get like a client that you're only charging like very little to and see if it works. You could do it for me for free, and that could be your test subject.
I don't think I would want you as a test
I know.
subject.
I don't think you would either. Also, like, there's no accountability if you're not near me.
That's what I'm afraid of.
That's the thing is like I needed an accountability buddy, which is
Yes.
why it was so good while you were here. And so the first day I did wake up early. We went for a walk. It was so good. And then Monday night is when my stomach troubles ensued. At like 3 a.m. in the morning, I texted you, Chen, walk without me. I have been in the bathroom for the last hour.
Okay, it's so funny because I woke up randomly at like 6 a.m. Not randomly. That's like usually when I start to like wake up.
Yeah.
And I went to the bathroom and I looked at my phone and I saw that text message and I was just like, wow, she's a quitter. Like
You had no faith in me.
making up stomach issues because you have stomach issues like every single day. What's the
I know,
difference?
But this one was like detrimental. Okay, that's fair. But what's funny is that you auto jumped to that conclusion instead of thinking me just saying like, hey, I'm not doing this. Because why does it matter really? Like, you know what I mean? Like if I didn't want to do it and you were the person that I was supposed to do it with, I'd just be like, nah.
You have a really hard time saying no to things.
But to the walk in the morning, easily can say no.
Oh, okay. I will file that into my
Yeah.
database.
But I for real was dead. I think I slept most of Tuesday.
You did. I texted Nico and I was like, Ami has only been awake for 3 hours today. I'm kind of concerned.
Eugen has really seen live my sleep struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you understood before, but I cannot stay awake.
Also, I always thought you were just being really dramatic.
Yeah,
until
and
I
I'm
witnessed
not.
it in person. No, when I was talking to Nico, I was like, just stream of thoughts. Like, I'm really worried about Ami's health, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, what you just texted me just sounded like Trump tweets. And I replied, make Ami great again.
I need to see this text interaction in live. That's hilarious.
Yes, I am on a campaign to make Ami great again.
I would love to. Like, honestly, these things are detrimental to my, like, day-to-day. It causes every little thing to be so tiring. It's not fun for me either
Right.
to live this way.
Okay. Should we get into the last topic of the season?
Yes.
We saved the best topic
Let
for
us.
last. So, have you heard of the Oxford study?
Okay, so I like kind of had before you brought it up, but I didn't like 100% know what it was.
Did you know that it was referring to like an Asian girl and a white guy? Or did you
Yeah.
have no idea?
I knew that.
Okay. So, an Oxford study is a term that people refer to when they see specifically an Asian girl, an East Asian girl, and a white guy dating or in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first saw it, I legit thought it was a real study. But you know what? I was kind of dumb because what real study would be so generic?
To be the Oxford study.
Yeah, like the Oxford
Exactly.
study.
Okay, I thought it was real too because like Oxford, I guess, carries such an air, and also the Oxford comma. So
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was like something kind of related to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I too was duped.
You know what? It kind of sounds like the Mandela effect. And that's actually a real thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Tell everyone what the Oxford study is.
Essentially, it's people saying that like that's the explanation why an Asian girl would always go for a white guy. Like it's like a canon effect, or it's just like a betrayal to your Asian ancestors.
Yeah.
But the truth is that it's just a troll term.
It is the most trolly term.
Yeah. Actually, we've encountered a lot of trolls lately.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
You know what? I would love for someone to comment on my video and say Oxford study.
It makes you seem smart.
Yeah. I'd just be like, hey, do you know that that's not real? And they probably wouldn't know. They would actually probably think it's a real term.
Yeah. No, totally. I feel like you really have to Google it and care to see if it's like real or not.
Mm-hmm.
Where did this come from? Do we even know the origin, or did some troll just start this?
Some troll just started it, and I'm pretty sure it's an Asian guy because
Ooh.
on like a lot of TikTok videos, or I guess, I don't know, Instagram, like the people who are using Oxford study are Asians. Like the people who are most offended by Asian girls dating white men are Asian men. And I think it is a pretty insulting term.
Very.
And it's not like a white guy will comment unless they really don't know what it's about. It's usually an Asian guy commenting it. And Asian guys are actually the worst trolls. Have you ever dealt with an Asian troll before?
I guess like any troll we have, I don't really look into who they are.
Oh, but you haven't had any experiences with trolls in
life?
in middle school or high school?
Yes.
I've had a very long-standing relationship with trolls in general. And the ones that I dealt with in middle school were all Asian. Let me tell you, they're the worst because they think they're so smart and they're not.
You know what? Maybe I was blessed because there were like no Asian people at my school.
You were blessed.
Yeah. It was only like Indian people that I knew. And in my grade, it was only girls. So they weren't trolling me.
But the guys who use the term like Oxford study is because they think they know better. They think that the Asian girls should be dating Asian boys. And who are you to say what's normal or like what should be occurring?
I feel like they take it as a personal attack when it has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, nothing to do. Like, why are you so involved with another person's relationship?
Yeah.
But one relationship that has gotten, I think, a lot of discussion around Oxford study and just like the concept of Asian women dating white men is the season of The Bachelorette with Miss Jen Tran. I was so excited for The Bachelorette this season because this was the first Asian Bachelorette. And she was portrayed as this very independent girl, very like spontaneous. And right off the bat, I think there was a lot of controversy with her being chosen the Bachelorette.
Yeah,
and
there's
like,
a lot of drama around it.
A lot of drama because people thought that Maria, this other girl, should have been chosen. And I feel like that just tainted the season like from the beginning.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know how like a show like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette is cast, unfortunately, they cast the guys, like the people vying for the love of the lead, before they even announce who the lead is. Like they have a running like top 3 or 4 list of people who would potentially be the lead, but they don't really know until much later. And so I think bringing in something so new, so revolutionary as like an Asian bachelorette was not expected for this season. And I think unfortunately they cast a lot of guys who weren't ready to date an Asian girl.
Yeah.
I think they also casted an Asian girl who wasn't in the mindset to date an Asian guy. And I think that's okay. Well, did you think she was going to pick an Asian guy, just like not even looking at the list? No.
Because I feel like it's very rare for like you to do on TV.
Yeah. Like if, I guess I'm going to make some assumptions, but if you are going to apply and be on a show like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, and you willingly went on the show, you know that is a primarily white audience and a white cast.
Exactly. Like you've kind of already accepted the whiteness that comes with it.
Yeah. And my second point is when she was on The Bachelor, one part of her storyline was that she had a lot of issues with her Asian father. And as someone who has had a complicated relationship with like my own Asian dad, I do think it adds to the difficulty of dating an Asian guy.
Totally. Like, it brings a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes into
A relationship. Yeah.
into how you observe things in general.
Yeah. And you see that play out in Jen's relationship. And also, they just did a horrible job at casting any shot of an Asian guy ending up with Jen. Like, on paper, the one Asian guy that like somewhat made it somewhat far, and it wasn't even that far, he looked great on paper, but in reality he was probably like the stereotype of why we don't want to date an Asian guy. Like, he was actually the worst.
Explain. Tell us why.
He just had such an ego about him, but like, for what? Like, that one scene where he had a fight with, was it Devin? Like, he didn't like Devin or something, and then it was at the very beginning, like week 2 or day 2 or something. And Devin like went to talk to Jen, and instead of like pulling Jen aside for his turn to talk to her, he pulled Devin aside and was like, hey dude, can I talk to you? And like left Jen sitting awkwardly on the couch. And I was just like, out of all the seasons, how many seasons do we have of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette? Like, so many.
Yeah, like 50.
Not one person, I think, has done that.
Yeah.
My man, like, that was probably the worst mistake to ever make.
Yeah.
And it comes solely out of an ego.
For sure. As soon as you said that, like, most people commenting on Thrift Study are Asian men, I immediately was like, yeah.
It's an ego thing.
Yeah, I feel like because Asian men feel inferior to white men, they feel like they have to make up for it, and they're always walking around with a chip on their shoulder.
It is, and it's frustrating because I have a brother who is an Asian man, and I want to have Asian babies, and I always want to raise someone who feels comfortable in their own skin and will be able to, like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be insecure.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is insecure, but we've met so many people who let their insecurities manifest in like the most ugliest ways. Like, the guy that, you know, both you and I think always has like something to prove and like is super insecure in that way is an Asian guy.
Yeah. Let's caveat this. Obviously, it's not all Asian men, blah, blah. We are a little bit men haters here, but all in good fun.
All in good fun, but also we've dated Asian men. Like, we have experience. Yeah. It's not like we're two white girls talking about Asian men in general. We've been around Asian men our entire life, and this is a trend.
And you know what? I'm going to bring this up, and I don't know if it like fully relates, but I also think Asian men have such an ego because they're raised at home as like the prized possession, like the prized son, like they can do no wrong. And then they project that into the world, and they put no effort into so many things because they expect it to be handed to them. And that also is very detrimental to them in dating.
Yeah. And I just want to say, this isn't just Asian men.
No.
It's just all men in general. You want to hear something interesting?
Yeah.
I think if I were to ever date again, like date someone else, my next step would be, I think I do want to try to date an Asian guy again. Yeah. I don't know why, but I just think it's been a while. And now that I am a little bit older and I have a little bit more experience, maybe I could navigate it a lot easier. But there are aspects of like being Asian that it makes it a lot easier for the other person to relate.
For sure. And you just have like a base level of understanding.
You know what's so interesting? I'm sure I've talked about it in another episode, but there are a lot of Asian girls that date white men.
Yeah. I think you've like mentioned that in SF especially.
In SF especially because that's the demographic.
Yeah.
But I still to this day am like, why? And I do think it's because like Asian girls don't tolerate a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That unfortunately Asian men put upon us.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but I feel like white men do respect women a lot more.
I agree. And
in a weird way, right?
Yeah, I think it's because while white men obviously have an ego, they don't have anything to prove because they are the top of the food chain.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get so canceled for this podcast.
That's fine. But that's true, right? Like, obviously, men in general have an ego and they're at the top. So, like, they don't have to show that ego as often. And that's why they don't do things that are intolerable as much.
Okay, so we're currently watching the latest US season of Love is Blind right now. And obviously, like, we haven't seen the end, but there's this one couple, and one of the girl is like part Asian. And I feel like she carries some sort of sensitivity to the fact that she's part Asian.
I agree.
Like, she is worried that he's not going to be as attracted to her. And I am just like, why? You are probably one of the most beautiful women
she's
on the
stunning.
show. And I hate the concept that in like a Western society, Asian beauty standards aren't viewed as beautiful, because like, you and I talked about this last night, but we both watch like Chinese dramas or like East Asian drama. You watch Indian dramas. The actresses that they cast for these shows are literally the most beautiful woman in the world. Even like looking at who wins Miss Universe, Miss World, they're all people who have more ethnic features. And so I'm always just so confused as to why like white beauty standards of like white women are superior when it's really not. I'm speaking factually because I studied art.
Do you think it's because the beauty of Asian women is considered for show? I guess like in a separate verse from our day-to-day life, everyone can acknowledge that they're very beautiful. But then day-to-day, everyone like dumbs it down and just takes what's the most popular around.
I'm afraid it has something to do with how our culture has been fetishized. Is that even a word? But for so many years, centuries, Asian women are considered submissive and in a way like just not as respected, to a point where it's like, I don't know if like comical is the right word, but like to your point, it's just like for show, but not taken seriously.
That's a good point. I think we are considered or like expected to be more submissive, and like in Asia the women are more submissive, just based on like cultural norms. Interesting.
But so I've always heard this joke from someone's uncle that like, why did the British try to like conquer every nation out there? And it's because the women there weren't pretty enough. Savage.
True.
But yeah,
that's funny. I mean, they did go to find more taste, better flavors.
You thought it was the spices.
It was a different kind of spice. Cringe. I mean, I think Asian culture has so much to offer, and people are, I do think, getting more into it, especially with K-pop. A lot of people are really interested in Japan now. That's all great things. But we're still at the very like forefront of people not thinking it's like a spectacle.
Well, that's enough of ranting about Asian men. And I just want to say that we have the right, we have the audacity to be talking about this because we are the prime subjects of the Oxford study. Unfortunately, fortunately, and I say we
because a little mic drop announcement is I'm off the market. And I guess obviously, based on the subject of this podcast, he is a white boy.
He's a white man. Let's give him more credit.
I am a brown girly, so he is a white boy.
Okay.
I just call everyone a boy. Like, saying man is just so creepy.
Okay. Next time I see your dad, I'm going to say, hey, boy.
As if you would say, hey, man, to him. Okay, I am dating a white man. I will put some respect on it.
This was also the blind item that we had referred to in our blind item.
Did anyone get it? Probably not. Probably only the people that know me.
Okay, so this is a long time coming because since the start of the podcast, Ami has been going through the trenches of relationships, situationships, nothing.
All the ships.
Yeah, nothing solid until this year, and it kind of came out of nowhere.
It came out of absolutely nowhere.
And that's like my favorite types of relationships, actually. But tell us, how did you guys meet?
We met in December, actually the first time, in Ireland for my friend's castle wedding.
Dude, I'm telling you, send this to Hallmark now.
Literally, it is a very like Hallmark story because so after the wedding, we didn't really talk. Like we followed each other on Instagram. Like we hung out at the wedding a little bit, but it wasn't like sparks were flying there. And then in April, he happened to be at the same golf course that my friend's wedding was at, unrelated to the wedding.
So like, first of all, you live in Dallas. Ireland is like in another continent. Then at this golf course,
Yeah.
it's not like a convenient golf course
No.
to get to too.
Yeah, it's Kiowa Island in South Carolina. I thought he lived in Boston, which he lives close enough to Boston, so like whatever. So for him to be there also was just random. To be there on the same weekend, to be on the same day, because there's also a lot of golf courses on that island, was just fate, maybe?
Maybe it was fate.
And so I saw that he was there and I DM'd him like, LOL, I'm here too.
How did you see that he was there?
He posted that he was at the course on
Oh.
Instagram. Yeah.
Nice.
And so I was like, haha, what are the odds?
Okay, wait, I have to ask.
Okay.
Were you interested in him at that time?
No, I literally was just like, this is wild.
But do you think your DM made him think you were interested?
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we can confirm with Rob. Rob, let me know. And I did not like mean it in any type of interest way. I just meant it in like a what's up? And like to give some background, I wasn't having the best week or two with other stuff. So then to have him there was a nice reprieve at the reception
Yeah.
because I went and hung out with him and his friends for a little bit. It was just kind of fun. It was whatever. I left there thinking nothing.
I also was thinking nothing.
I left there thinking nothing. A week later, this man DMs me about golf. And why I answered that DM is unknown to me. But I did answer, and then we've been talking ever since.
Why would a man DM you about golf?
Exactly. I don't know. It was Masters weekend, which I didn't even understand what that was. The only reason I even slightly knew what that was is because Emily brought it up that day. Because John, her husband, is very into golf. So I like kind of knew. And so I was like, haha, I know nothing about this, but like, what do you mean? And then, I don't know, it worked.
Wait, how soon between Emily's wedding and this first DM?
Like a week.
Okay. I definitely think he was like into you at the wedding.
He said that.
Because like, why on earth would a man ask you about golf? Like that was his
his in. Yeah.
slide that he had been thinking about for a while.
I don't think a while. But the way he says it, it's like at the wedding, he was like, oh shit. And then was like, how do I make this happen? And then DM'd him about golf. I was like, you swung hard. You swung hard. Luckily, you got a home run, but you could have gotten a strike so easily. Also, he did message me like a couple of times in the middle of that, I think, like in that week, about Clown Vibes.
Clown Vibes is such a easy in.
Exactly.
Because we're always trying to promote it.
Exactly. And at the wedding, he was telling me the episodes he had listened to. And I was like, damn, you are literally a rando that listened to this podcast. You're a fan. And like anyone knows that if you're a fan, I automatically like you more.
Yeah.
I feel very appreciative of the support. And while he had not listened to that many, he was like, I'm going to listen to these episodes. And then he like did. So that was good.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a few hard-hitting questions.
Okay.
So one thing very interesting between Rob and Ami is their age difference.
Oh, yeah. Also, his name is Rob. I don't know that I've said
You
that.
did say that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Rob is 37. Well, he just turned 38.
Happy birthday, Rob.
And I am 29, about to turn 30. So we have like basically an 8-year age gap. What's odd is like it doesn't feel that way if it's just us talking. But then our lives are just very different.
Yeah.
Because of it. And that has been a very interesting situation, I think.
Did you ever think that you would be dating someone older and also someone who's not Indian?
I didn't think that I would date someone this much older. I guess like I had never really thought about it. I wasn't like a hard yes or no on it.
I mean, just thought that she would never date anyone ever.
Yeah, literally I was like, I'm gonna be alone forever and that's whatever. And I was very open to not Indian, so it was fine.
That is not what you told me. Because remember,
When
sometimes
did I tell you this?
no, because remember in one of our very early episodes of Clown Vibes,
Oh, yes. Okay, my mindset has changed a lot since then, though.
what changed?
I guess maybe Rob. No, okay, so I had always thought it would be easier. Obviously, to date Indian. I'm very close to my family. It just is like so seamless when that happens. But in the back of my head, I always knew that it's like a possibility that it doesn't happen. In the limbo of dating, I was like, the chances of me finding an Indian person and dating an Indian person seem greater just by like happenstance. Also, just by like sheer force of my mom.
Yeah.
I did think that it would probably be, but like I wasn't a hard, it has to be Indian.
Okay, interesting. Honestly, when you told me he was white, I was surprised.
Really?
Yeah. Because, well, actually, I don't know if I was that surprised because I knew you guys were talking. So
Yeah.
you guys dating wasn't really a surprise to me.
Yeah.
I guess I was surprised that you'd be into it.
Yeah, it was just a very tough situation in the like logistically. We're having to overcome stuff because it's long distance. But I think when I had originally told you, I was just like LOL about it. Remember I told you, I was like, I don't know if he's like just my friend or like what's happening.
Yeah, but I kind of knew something was going to happen because you were really nervous to like bring it up, and
Yeah, I guess that's true.
when you act like that, it means it like bothers you in some way, which means it's on your mind like
Yeah.
more often than not. If it was really nothing, you would be so mean about it. You'd be like, "Oh, this guy's being so fucking dumb." Like the
That's so
Prague
true.
situation.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
What has it been like introducing a white boy into your extended family, which is, like you said, very close?
Yeah. So far he's only physically met my parents. And actually, I told my parents so much earlier than I ever would have. Like,
Truly.
than I ever thought I would have.
She went against my advice.
I was like, Yuchen, I think I'm going to tell my mom. And Yuch was like, no. And she told me something damaging.
I was just trying to show her what true willpower was like.
Yeah.
And I had revealed my 3-year secret that her mom and I are on texting terms.
Then for a week and a half, I didn't do anything. Actually, 2.5 weeks, I didn't do anything. 2.5 weeks, I held it in. And if anyone knows me, I'm a terrible secret keeper. Like, especially if it's my own stuff, I don't like to blatantly lie like that. And my mom, being my mom, was like trying to get me to date people. And so I was like, I cannot date anyone. And then she'd be like, why? And I had to say, because I have a boyfriend.
You didn't have to say that. But
what could I have said?
you could have said that you're not looking to date any.
I said that. And then she said, no, I think you should talk to him anyway.
Just say that you're into girls.
Well, okay. So at that point, I had already met Rob's parents because he is white. And white people are so casual about dating
They are.
in a way that Asian culture is just really not. So I had already met his parents. And this was 3 weeks in to our official, I guess, relationship. And so then I just told the truth.
You know what? It worked out for you because your
Yeah.
parents, your whole family does have somewhat of a white.
Yeah.
I don't want to say white, but like they aren't very traditional Indian either.
Yeah. They're a
that
lot more
sense.
modern.
Yeah.
So they were chill. Whenever we met at a Taco Bell. My parents met Rob at a Taco Bell. I thought it went fine. It was pretty chill. They didn't say anything. I think they realized I was happy, so they were like, whatever. My mom actually made a comment that my dad said, who cares? Like, she's really happy, so.
Coming from your dad?
Yeah, I'm like, my dad doesn't even talk to me.
Coming from an Asian man. See, this isn't a entirely We Hate Asian Men
Yeah. No.
podcast.
This is not. So yeah, that went fine. And then slowly I have been telling the rest of my family that I'm close to via phone.
And everyone's excited.
Yes, everyone is excited. We'll see when he meets everyone in person because my family does talk in Gujarati a lot, especially my parents to me. I'm like pre-worried that it'll be really hard for them to only speak in English.
I have a friend, he's actually an Asian guy, and he recently got engaged to his white girlfriend, but this was before they got engaged, and he had brought her back to Texas and was like hanging out with their parents, and I've known their parents a lot, and they're kind of like mine, where we speak a lot of Chinese at home.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, surprisingly, like they have been speaking a lot of English while she's around. Like every situation I've heard, it's always that it's worked out fine.
Yeah, lunch was totally fine. I think it's when they're in the zone just talking to me on the phone. Obviously, like that's their preferred language.
You know what? I do love being able to shit talk in a foreign language or talk about my significant other. Not in a bad way, but also just like oh yeah, so-and-so, blah, 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 and them not knowing what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is a benefit.
That's true. I guess we'll see what happens. But I feel like if I talk in Gujarati, then it'll be like a clear indication that I'm talking about him, because I never really respond in Gujarati. I always talk in English.
Oh.
Unless it's to my grandma.
I'm always mixing it up. You should just start mixing it up to like...
Throw him off.
Yeah, throw him off.
Rob, you're listening to this, and I'm saying this as a joke. But yeah, that is my update.
Wow, that is the biggest personal life update that you've ever given on Clown Vibes.
You know what? 3 seasons in, I feel it is my duty to share one thing. And I've done it, and no longer can you say I'm like Mindy Kaling.
What do you mean you're like Mindy Kaling?
Remember on was it the Blind episode where you were like, hey, do celebrities have an obligation? And I said yes.
Oh.
And you said, but Ami, you've never shared anything. And so now I've shared one thing. It's a big thing too, because not even everyone knows. So it's not like I've announced it. So even some friends that I don't talk to often don't know. And maybe they'll find out via this episode.
They will if you're listening.
If you're a real one.
Okay. I have a life update for you too.
Okay.
Since this is about the Oxford study. I don't know if, I guess, do I count as an Oxford study?
I don't know.
Subject?
I was thinking that too. You're like a partial Oxford study
I don't know if I
subject.
ever announced this on the pod, but my boyfriend Nico is half white, half Asian. But he's very white passing in that he looks very white, even though I think he looks pretty Asian.
Yeah.
But like it is kind of an inside joke between the two of us that we are just a statistic in San Francisco. I also think that it's also a joke of Asian women dating Wasian men, that it's kind of like an intro, like a taste into white men. But I've also dated a white guy before, so I didn't need the taste. I'm actually backing out. I'm backing out of the trend, and after this I'm going full Asian.
Yes. No, hopefully no after this, but if you need to.
Yeah. No, but I say this because I actually say that I want to maybe try to date Asian after, because I actually like how Asian Nico is.
Yeah, he is very Asian.
Like he may not look 50% Asian, but he acts, I would say 70%.
Yeah, I agree.
Asian.
I agree.
I think that is what I enjoy about our relationship is
Yeah.
not having to explain certain things, and him also enjoying like the same things I enjoy. Like he only watches Asian shows and Asian TV shows. It doesn't matter what Asian. Japanese, Korean, Chinese, doesn't matter as long as it's not English. Sometimes I'm just like, can we please watch something in English? And he's like, no.
Literally, I just don't have the attention span anymore. Like I can only watch Indian stuff now because I don't have to read. But like,
wait, you don't have to read Indian, but you have to read English?
Like, I mean, besides American shows, I can only watch Indian stuff because I don't have to read. But like watching anything else is so tough for me because I cannot pay attention for a full episode to read the subtitles.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of mind work.
Yeah, and it's like I like to scroll.
Yes, me too. Luckily, my Chinese is decent enough where I can scroll, but sometimes I'm like trying to multitask and like talk to Nico, and he's like, wait, don't talk to me, because he has to pay attention so hard. But anyways, Nico, after 2 years pretty much of dating, has finally met my parents. And honestly, if I could have delayed it a little bit, I would have.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I think I would have maybe wanted it to occur while they were visiting me in SF rather than Nico
yeah.
coming and staying with us in
That's a lot for
Houston.
him.
Yeah, that's a lot for him. But also, I kind of wanted it to happen because we went on this entire extended family trip to China, and that was planned in July with like my mom, my brother, and like our extended family on her side, which is like pretty big.
Yeah.
And so I had this like internal debate where I'm like, should I push for him to like just taste test what it's like to be a part of an Asian family first?
Yeah.
While every member can speak English.
Mm-hmm.
And then introduce him to like the big Chinese side of the family. And I think he did very well for both meet and greets, except for with my dogs.
Your dogs are just protective of you.
They're very protective of me.
And they don't want to share you.
They don't, especially Leo. But I would say like I was pleasantly surprised by, I was really worried about the language barrier issue, especially like with my mom, but she's made such a effort. And
that's really
Nico
nice.
is like really patient with them too. And I don't know, sometimes in Asian culture, like in Asia, meeting the family is such a big deal. It means like
You're
marriage.
Getting married. Yeah.
But in this case, I think both my parents and us know that like that's not the case.
Yeah.
And then it's leaves a lot of stress out of the like meet and greet. It's more so just like, I want you to meet the person that I have been spending a lot of time with.
Yeah.
It was also really sweet that all of my extended family members, like each nuclear family, got him a gift when he came to visit.
That's really nice.
And he got to like try out the Asian hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he really enjoyed how welcoming an Asian family can be.
Yeah. You know what I really like is how close he got to Harry.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think they got that close.
Well,
but
like, Harry doesn't talk. And the fact that Harry was, like, down to talk to Nico, I was like, wow, that's really nice.
Ami came to hang out with us once in Texas when we were all there. And she's like, I've never seen Harry talk this much. And he didn't even talk that much.
It's because, like, when I'm asking Harry questions, he just says yes or no. Like, or he'll answer with the, like, exact response.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
You know what? I think it's because Nico sees a lot of himself in Harry.
Yeah.
It's funny because we were on a friend's trip to Tahoe and like it was kind of a joke that like Nico doesn't say that isn't super talkative.
Yeah.
But they're like, Nico is a man of a few words, but he's always so happy. That's not Harry though.
Yeah. Well, it's like we don't know if that's Harry outside of the
That's
house.
true.
You know what I mean? I feel like I know nothing about Keishan really because he has really blossomed into a normal person in Seattle. And I do feel like pre-Seattle, I did, okay, like we did hang out more than you and Harry do just because of our closer age gap, but like he shares nothing about his life. So I don't really know. And the only reason I think that he's blossomed in Seattle is because he tells us he has friends.
Okay. So even though your brother is already engaged, would you feel okay with him dating a white girl?
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter to you.
I don't think so.
I would also like feel the same way
Yeah.
about Harry. It's just like,
Cool.
it is what it is.
Yeah. You know, a big part of me also, especially lately, especially like, okay, so my mom went to her high school friend's kid's wedding. And so she saw a bunch of her high school friends. And so that's like a very older Indian generation, right? That were like, had arranged marriages, all of this situation. So many of them have had horrible things happen. And like, especially growing up in an Asian family, like you hear about so many of the bad things, like mother-in-law issues, like familial obligations, that I think it's also just easier in a lot of ways to date a white person. There's much less expectation on you, especially being a girl going into someone's family.
That is true. There is a lot of, I would say, less drama, but honestly, white families can also have their own dramas.
It's like
a different
type of drama. So it's like unknown, which maybe that's worse, but who knows? And I think from like a male point of view, being the boy in the family in an Asian family is very different than like in a white family, right? And so like him going into a white family, I feel like we don't know really what that would be like, but probably less obligation.
True.
So that's why I would be indifferent.
Okay, to wrap up the episode, let's quickly chat about where we landed with the goals that we set at the
Okay.
beginning of this year.
All right.
I'll go first. So my word for 2024 was TikTok, and I wanted to reach 5,000 followers on TikTok.
You know what? The year's not over yet,
The year's not over.
but I think you've done a great job.
So I've reached half. I
Yeah.
got a lot when we first started season 3. And you know what's so funny? We had a troll comment, LOL, only 2,000 followers. And he doesn't realize that we're so, he doesn't realize it's not an insult in the slightest.
No, it's like amazing that we got there. We had that success towards the end of last year. And then this like new round of success, I feel like was a bigger bump. And I think that's how TikTok works, right? Like every time
It's
now
cumulative.
that something happens, like we'll get more from that bump.
Mm-hmm.
And so honestly, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for you to get to 5,000. Will you? Because our season's ending, who knows? But I think you've reached it. In my head, we got it.
Okay, my other 2 goals was I was going to get into doing my own nails.
Which you're very into.
I'm very into,
You
I think,
just $100p invested in nails.
yes, I think this has been one of my longest hobbies.
Yeah.
Thus far, and I think I can go far in this hobby. But just a reminder to literally everyone, you don't have to turn your hobby into a business.
Oh, yeah. This is for fun.
This is just for funsies.
I think you're having a lot of fun with it, which is exciting.
Ami wants me to do her nails, and I'm going to hold that over her to make her move to SF.
It would be so nice to just be like, hey, I'm coming over to do my nails.
Yeah,
Because I think nail salons are out.
they're so out.
They're out. Except for pedicures. They're in for pedicures. Out for manicures. Okay, your last goal.
My last goal was to consistently poop every day, and I failed that. I am still working towards it. I started this goal late.
Yeah. You started at mid-year.
I am still in the midst of diagnosing what my fucking issue is, and I still
Yeah.
don't really know. I'm trying a lot of things, and I think it might be time to get professional help.
You know what we've learned this week is we got to get some doctors. But I will say that I am very impressed at the just health progress you've made even in the last 2 months since I've seen you. You have become very extra healthy. You were already like very healthy, much more than me, and now you're like hella more than me. So maybe you do need to be my health and wellness
Life coach? Actually, since you put that in my mind, can I be?
Yeah. But you can't get mad at me if I don't fully follow through.
All right.
You can get mad, but like not in a, you can get mad in a life coach way.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take some pointers from Kelsey.
Yeah. Kelsey's a savage, but
Yeah.
in a nice way.
Okay.
My goals were to be unbothered, which actually, speaking of Kelsey, who's my therapist, for those who don't know, when I told her that this should be my word of the year again, she said no. She said, try again.
Try harder.
She said, you can't have that goal because, like, what does unbothered mean? Do you want to have no emotions ever? Like, you're just
True.
not the person who can do that. And I was like, all right, fair enough. So we came up with other therapy goals. But I do think, like, in general, if unbothered was my goal, I have progressed. Of course, never achieve that.
Well-
that's like it's like an ambition, not a, like, milestone.
To Kelsey's point, I think you did achieve it because you can never be completely
Yeah,
unbothered.
that's true.
Impossible.
Yeah.
So I say you reached your goal.
Yes. My bounce back, like we talked about last night, is way better. Even like something we talked about this week in therapy, I was like, I am upset with myself that I let this bother me for like 10 minutes. And she was like, 10 minutes? Dude, 2 years ago, this would have bothered you for a month. She was like, think about the percentage of time that decreased.
Yeah, dude, you used to be so bothered
Yeah.
and so like aggro. Actually, there's a few things right now that's like really bothering you, but it's significantly less than where you were a year ago, and I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. And I think the few things that are bothering me right now, they don't bother me all the time. They bother me when they come up, which I think is still different than before. Because like before, if something was bothering me, it would bother me 24/7. Like I was not thinking about it.
Seriously.
So that was one goal. My second goal, which I have utterly failed, was to not travel as much.
Oh yeah, fail.
And it was specifically to not be on a plane every month of this year, and I only accomplished it in January by the skin of my teeth.
Well, I think this relationship has completely derailed it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think
It's
for
fine.
the better.
Yeah. Like, it's not a bad thing. It is just not how I envisioned the year going. And maybe, like, that's kind of what I needed to get into a relationship, of just setting expectations that were unachievable for me. Also, like, even besides the relationship, I don't think I would have reached it. Like, the only other month that had no travel was August.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have only been 2 months anyway.
Okay, since this is the last episode of Clown Vibes for this season, what is your favorite Clown Vibes memory thus far?
Ooh. Do you have one ready?
I would say it's either TMZ reaching out to
Okay,
us.
I was going to say that, but I'm like, have they even replied?
No. Okay, basically it's TMZ ghosting us after having slid into our DMs.
Yes, they are savage.
But it's fine.
That is cool. I think it's the haters.
We love the haters.
We love the haters. I think, like, specifically recently, someone so random slid into our Instagram DMs because a random person on TikTok commented on one of our videos about their, like, ex company. Like, it was so removed. I didn't even know who the person was. I called U10 and I was like, this person with the blue check mark has DM'd us.
I knew who it was.
What does this even mean?
Yes. If we ever decide to blow shit up, we can focus on the content of these DMs because they're shady AF.
They're crazy. But, like, I think it's just so funny.
Yeah. It's so funny that people care about us because to that troll's point, we do only have 2,000 followers.
Exactly. And we have even less on Instagram where people actually DM us because I think our TikTok DMs are, like, mostly closed. And so to go to our Instagram and see what, like, 80 followers and then still DM us is hilarious. Hilarious to think that, like, anything we're putting out is making, like, that big of waves.
It's not. It's really
But
not.
I love that. And I think that is the funniest and, like, one of the coolest memories that I'll always remember.
That's Clown Vibes.
Thanks so much for listening. You can follow us on all social media at Clown Vibes Podcast or email us at clownvibespodcast@gmail.com. And if you like our show and want to support us, please like, subscribe, and give us a rating and review. That's it for today. Bye, clowns.
Bye, clowns.